Hello everyone, welcome back to Into the Plot. Episode 4 of Pluribus is the first time the show invites us to think about the hive mind not as magic or metaphor but as a technical system. One with rules, limitations, and even vulnerabilities. By bringing together visual clues from the intro, sound design, and character behaviors, we can come up with a theory about how the hive works. And more importantly, how it might get broken. Let's dive into the theory. The hive controls people by sending out a repeating signal, like a pulse, and everyone who's infected gets synced to it. If you interrupt that pulse, you can break the hive's control, so basically everyone is controlled by some kind of signal. The first reason behind this theory is the Parkway man. He's scanning through radio frequencies that look like the 40-meter handband, somewhere around 7.12 MHz. That specific band is famous for excellent long-distance propagation, working reliably across day-night cycles and carrying signals halfway around the world with very low power. In other words, if a hive mind needed to broadcast continuous or pulse updates to millions of people across large distances, 40 meters is exactly the kind of band you would choose. The fact that he's scanning slowly, holding uncertain frequencies for a minute at a time, suggests he thinks the hive signal is not continuous but periodic, repeating every few seconds or minutes. Like a heartbeat or sync pulse shared across all connected minds. This also matches the intro animation, dots pulsing outwards from the P like a ripple or wave. When people were repeating "Please Carol" and they weren't in sync, it wasn't a mistake, it was a clue. It might show that the hive mind doesn't control people through pure telepathy or psychology. It relies on an external signal with a specific rhythm or pulse that keeps everyone coordinated. When that pulse is delayed, disrupted, or weakened for even a moment, the people connected to it fall slightly out of sync. The second reason for this theory is that sound seems to mess with the hive. Throughout the show, sound plays a weird role. The music in the house was turned off almost immediately. They shut down the music in elevators. When Carol shouts, the hive sort of glitches. The intro animation looks like sound waves, and the intro song is voices in harmony. This means the sound or anything with the right kind of noise can interfere with the hive's control. Not because the hive is made of sound, but because the hive might use the rhythm or pattern that sound can disrupt. Another reason is that the first thing the infected people did is kill cell phone service. Why? Because phones can pick up weird signals, interfere with signals, broadcast noise without people knowing, and mess with anything that relies on precise timing. If Pluribus needs a clean, steady pulse to keep everyone connected, smartphones are unpredictable and dangerous to that system. So this theory says that the hive keeps people under control by sending out a repeating signal, like a pulse. Everyone infected stays synced to that pulse. If you interrupt the pulse with sound, noise, or any kind of interference, the connection could break. The Parkway man is trying to find the exact pulse, when it happens, what pattern it has, and how it might be blocked. Okay, let's dive into some more important points in episode 4. I don't know if you noticed that Carol injected Zosha with about twice the amount she used on herself. Carol probably didn't know the perfect dose. She was panicking, improvising, and trying to break someone loose from a hive mind using whatever she had. Also, why Carol chose Zosha for the injection? She was already weak. Carol injected Zosha because she was the only person in a condition where Carol could realistically pull it off without drawing attention. Zosha was already hooked up to an IV, which made slipping the drug into her bloodstream much easier and less noticeable than trying to stab someone else with a needle. Beyond practicality, Carol also seemed to have built a small amount of trust or emotional connection with Zosha, enough to hope that in her drugged and weakened state, Zosha might slip slightly out of the hive's influence. Another interesting point is that the hive doesn't have personal taste. It's not a separate creature. It is every human meshed together. That means it contains the emotions of both superfans and people who hated the same books. But the hive seems to filter out negative reactions and prioritize the warm, nostalgic, or joyful ones because they create harmony or stability. So the hive liking Shakespeare and Carol novel equally isn't because it can't tell quality. It's because it's drawing from the collective positive emotions of millions of readers. The mayor in this episode is actually the real mayor of Albuquerque, Tim Keller. The show even placed his pictures in the airport scene back in episode 1. Maybe, as I said in my previous video, the only way to break free from the hive is to let the person die briefly. Sosha's near-death experience might give her a chance to return as an individual. Carol pauses over the whiteboard because part of it is Helen's handwriting. That's why she had left it untouched. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have an interesting theory or notice an interesting hidden detail.